Long before his name became part of every history book, George Washington was simply a quiet boy standing on the edge of a vast Virginia field, staring into a world he didn't yet understand. The sun would rise over the misty rivers, turning the land golden, and young George would watch it in silence, wondering what kind of life waited beyond the horizon. There was nothing in those early days that hinted he would one day help shape a nation. He had no grand plan, no vision of destiny. He was just a boy learning to make sense of loss, responsibility, and the slow, steady journey toward becoming a man. George's childhood changed forever when his father died. One day his home felt whole and the next it felt strangely empty, as if a part of the house itself had disappeared. People forget how much grief shapes a child. At 11 years old, George learned what it meant to carry responsibilities that shouldn't belong to someone so young. He began helping manage the family land, watching his mother struggle to keep everything together. She was strict, often tough, but her strength taught him a lesson he never forgot. Character is not something you talk about, it's something you live. While other children spent their days in laughter, George found himself drawn to quiet places, the woods, the riverbank, the open fields, where he would think, observe, and slowly build the calm discipline that would define him for the rest of his life. Those who knew him said he wasn't the loudest child, not the funniest, not the most outgoing. But when he entered a room, there was a seriousness in his eyes that made people pay attention. Washington's education wasn't fancy or polished. He didn't attend elite schools, and no famous teachers guided him. Instead, he taught himself. He read whatever books he could find, surveying manuals, maps, travel journals, and stories of explorers who crossed oceans and mountains. Something inside him awakened, a hunger to understand the land around him. When he became a teenage surveyor, everything changed. He traveled on foot and horseback through forests so dense the sunlight barely touched the ground. He crossed icy streams, climbed rugged hills, and slept under open skies. Each day, he drew maps, measured distances, and learned how to read the land like a language. These experiences didn't just teach him technical skills, they built a resilience most men never develop. He learned patience. He learned endurance. And he learned that the world was far bigger than the farm where he grew up. People started to trust him, not because he spoke well but because he worked hard, stayed calm, and finished whatever he began. Even at a young age, there was something steady in him, something unshakable. When Washington entered the military, he discovered very quickly that bravery alone is not enough. His early campaigns were filled with confusion, fear, and hard lessons. Some decisions failed. Some moments haunted him. There were times when soldiers died under his command, and he carried those memories heavily. But instead of breaking, he transformed. Washington became brutally honest with himself. He studied every mistake. He wrote long reflections about what he should have done better. He didn't chase glory. He chased improvement. And slowly, the young officer who once doubted himself began to grow into a leader others depended on. Soldiers followed him not because he shouted commands, but because he stood with them in the mud, in the rain, in the exhaustion of battle. He led not from behind but from the front, and that single choice changed the way men saw him. When the colonies decided they would no longer bow to an empire, they needed someone strong enough to hold them together. The war that followed was brutal and unforgiving. Washington's army was undertrained, undersupplied, often starving, sometimes shoeless. Winter after winter, the cold felt like a living enemy. Men deserted, morale broke. Hope faded, but Washington remained. He walked through camps at night, speaking softly to soldiers who felt forgotten. He encouraged them, lifted them up, and reminded them why they fought. He didn't promise quick victory. He promised perseverance. That quiet determination became the heartbeat of the revolution. Slowly, painfully, the tide turned. Victories came. And when the war finally ended, Washington did something no one expected. He stepped away. He returned home, willingly giving up power in a world where men usually clung to it. That moment made kings across the world tremble. It proved something extraordinary, that Washington cared more about the country's future than his own glory. When the new nation struggled to find stability, the people once again turned to him. He did not want to be president. He longed for peace, for his farm at Mount Vernon, for simplicity. But he accepted because the country needed him. The early years of the presidency were filled with conflict. States fought with each other. The government had no money. Foreign nations pressured the new country. Every decision felt like a stone added to Washington's shoulders. But he faced each challenge with the same calm he had learned as a boy wandering the quiet fields of Virginia. He set traditions still followed today. He united people who disagreed. And when his second term ended, he walked away once more, teaching the world again that power must serve the people, never the other way around. George Washington did not become great through speeches or dramatic gestures. He became great through discipline, honesty, and the courage to keep moving forward even when he was uncertain. He was a man shaped by loss, strengthened by the wilderness, tested by war, and defined by humility. His story is a reminder that greatness often grows from quiet beginnings, that a boy standing alone in a field can become the steady heartbeat of a nation, and that true leadership is not about commanding attention, it's about earning trust, step by step. Washington's legacy is not carved only in monuments. It lives in the idea that a leader should serve with integrity, walk with patience, and leave power with grace. And that is why, centuries later, his story still matters.